on to the 9 o'clock hour of Primetime Sports. And Tuesday nights, we try to feature a band. We're doing that tonight. We've got Andy Babb and the Big Beautiful Band.
Hey, hi, how are you?
Good. That is Andy, and Pat's hanging out with us.
Hello, friends.
Pat, what do you play?
Well, when the band performs live, I play lead guitar.
Okay.
When we're in the recording studio situation, I end up doing a little bit of a lot of stuff. I play a lot of drums, bass, keyboard, backup vocals, kind of.
It's really more of a matter of what doesn't he play when it comes to Pat Hanson.
Yeah. Live, like I said, on stage, I'll be playing electric guitar. He plays acoustic and sings. But yeah, we've been working together for a couple years now, put out an EP and a full-length album.
Yeah.
And he brings the song ideas, and then, we work together to kind of turn them into something that's actually worth listening to. Or that's what we try to do.
Well, no, it sounds like it's fun music.
Yeah, that's what we try and keep it. We call it fun, funky folk rock.
There you go. And you say it fast, and you didn't get any words wrong. So we all thank you for that on the radio, because
Right.
I would have messed that up and gotten us all in trouble.
We're keeping it family friendly.
There we go. That's the key tonight. So, fellas, it sounds like that's really interesting. Now, I've never. How does it work when? I mean, I've heard about these concepts where one guy. I guess I'll just throw out there like Weezer. Apparently, on a few albums ago, the lead singer. I'm forgetting it.
Rivers Cuomo.
Thank you. He played everything, and then the guys just came in and learned the parts. How hard is it to put an album together like that? Is it hard for you to hear the song in your head when it's going like that? It's fascinating to me that you can put a song together with one guy basically just playing everything, and then you don't hear the finished product till it's done, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting process. As a songwriter, sometimes I'll hear, all of the parts, and sometimes I'll just be like, okay, I have an idea, and I'll come to Pat, usually with a song, usually with the structure pretty much laid out. And from there, we kind of just leave it open to be like, okay, what do you feel like is the bass? And, Pat's a natural musician, so he'll just figure it out. And, other musicians we bring in too, just, they kind of have a natural feel because there's a structure, and within that structure is where the creativity comes in.
Once Andy comes to me with an idea, it's pretty well laid out, structured-wise, lyrics, and they're standalone songs. The way he presents them, he can sit in a room with an acoustic guitar and play and entertain people all night long. I don't have the gift of writing songs that he does, but the gift that I have is to be able to flesh those songs out into full ideas. Mm-hmm. One of the drawbacks of the way that the albums have come to be is that we don't have a band that is writing the songs together and learning them and rehearsing them and getting them tight and then going into the studio, which is the process that a lot of bands usually take. They'll write the songs together as an existing band and then bring those songs completed into the studio and then do the tracking from there. We kind of do it the other way around, where Andy will come over to the studio and we'll just record him singing and playing. We'll just get the bare bones of the song, and then from there we start adding parts, keyboard parts. Oh, maybe we need a string part here, or maybe an organ part here, or we had a cellist come in and do some live string work on his album. Mm-hmm. And we have a wonderful backup female vocalist that came in and really killed it on a lot of the songs. Yeah. And then at some Andy's father is a preacher,
yeah.
And we were able to use his father's church to do the recording of the drums.
Yeah.
Really?
For the most part,
Added a lot.
it was nice to have a big room with a lot of good natural acoustics. For the most part, this entire album was basically recorded more or less in my living room.
Yeah, pretty much.
We use a lot of guitar amp modeling, so we don't even have to plug in a guitar to a guitar amp. I use Logic on my Apple Mac, and basically they can replicate any different kind of guitar sound that you want. So we're sitting in there, my girlfriend's in the kitchen, doing dishes, and I'm sitting there jamming out, rocking guitar parts, and we're essentially, doing it in an apartment complex.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The modern day of music technology, how much you have on your computer, thousands and thousands of dollars, 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, it's just the game has changed so much to whereas so many artists are just able to put together a really nice sounding album, professional sounding album on a shoestring budget. So it's amazing.
How do you then translate that, though, to a live show? It seems to me like you guys clearly, it seems that you're tight, and like you said, you seem to have the same synergy about what you want the songs to come out like. Mm-hmm. But then when you try to express that, because like you said, it's not like you're working on this as a collective group and people get a way in. Is it then hard to try to get everybody to play their parts, or is it actually easier that way?
I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because as a songwriter and as a band leader, I want everyone to feel like they have creative input, like that they're adding something to the band. And that's kind of the concept of the Big Beautiful Band, is that I want everyone, even the audience members, to feel like they belong, to feel like they're a part of this bigger movement of spreading joy, happiness, togetherness, these types of messages. We sing a lot about love. So as musicians, I think I'll let Pat speak on this because, yeah, I don't know if it's easier.
Well, I did a lot of the drum parts on the albums, and I do a lot of the bass parts on the albums out of necessity, just because he had the songs and he wanted to get them out. And we both ended up back in Denver. I was living in Barcelona for a while, and he was living in Sweden for a while.
Wow.
And we met in Los Angeles in 2011 in music school. We didn't know each other, but we were both from Colorado. We met in LA and immediately hit it off and started making music together. Then we both kind of went our own separate ways all over the world, and coincidentally ended up back in Denver. And at that point, he had a bunch of new songs. So we started working on the songs together, doing the recording process and writing the album. And then basically when it came time to start looking for people to play with, I've been playing in Denver my whole life. So I had a kind of a stockpile of good musicians that I'm comfortable with working with. And Andy had a couple of people that he knew. But I think to get to your original question, like, out of necessity, I did the drum parts, bass parts, different things like that. Well, I can't do all that stuff on stage, obviously. I'm primarily a lead guitar player. So we brought in a drummer and we brought in a bass player. So to me, I'm like, I played that bass line the way that I think it should be played. But I have to, I trust the other musicians that we're playing with. You know what? I can't really be too picky about it. Like, you do your thing and add your flavor to it. I could really be nitpicky and be like, no, that's how I want that line to go right there. But I trust the guys that I play with, and everybody's got their own influence and brings their own thing to the table, and it works out well. So
yeah, but is there ever like a bad night where maybe you're shooting crusties on the stage at somebody just because maybe that wasn't the one part I really wanted changed, or there's got to be some attachment to this for you, isn't there?
Well, there is, absolutely. And when I want to hear a particular bass line played the way that I want to hear it, I listen to the record.
All right, fair enough.
But as far as like, on stage, when we're a group, when we're on stage together performing, I'm not there pointing fingers. I've been in a band with a guy that was real. If you played something differently or maybe made a mistake, he would turn and stop and look at you and just glare at you. And that's not the good.
Like in a show?
Yeah.
Nobody likes that.
That's not the, and the audience can see that. So, I'm not picky about it.
Yeah.
I know he and I are both really positive about it on stage. And, if you want to go and do something crazy, do it. And if it works out, awesome. And if it doesn't, we'll laugh about it later, But I mean, everybody that we play with is really competent, just real pros. And I don't have any worries ever at any point about anybody, butchering something, because it always turns out well. So
yeah, it's really all about the feel. I think the feel of the music is pretty loose, pretty free flowing. Our energy on stage is pretty loose and free flowing. The way that our stage banter is and our energy, it's like it's not about all of getting everything exactly right. It's about being who you are, expressing your musicality, and also I think what lots of lay people who don't play music may not realize is music is a lot about listening. And so if you're not listening to, and you're all in yourself and egoic, it's all about you, then the music isn't going to sound good. So
on stage, you're talking about?
Yeah, on stage.
The band listening to each other.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Exactly. You got to have that synergy like you're talking about.
You guys are better people than I am, though, because look, I guess maybe that's a control freak in me coming out there. It'd be a small part of me going, hey, man, I kind of laid that down the way I liked it. Could you at least get close? Or,
I have it too, man. But I think as I become older and more mature, you just you got to let go and trust people to do what they do,
It's better to get another show out of them than upset them and not have them come back, right?
Yeah, and another thing is, like, I write a lot of electronic and hip hop music, and that's just me, and I'm in charge of every single millisecond of every track, you know? Like that's the time where I can be really nitpicky and make sure. And when I hit play on the computer, it's the exact same way every single time, you know, because that I put that kick drum there, or I put that little shaker sound there, or I put that synth sound there, and it's going to be that way every single time. You can't, when you're dealing with human beings, you can't expect that, you know. People are going to have off nights, and people are going to have like nights where they're just killing it. And so you have to have a tolerance and a patience with people. And, you know, the band, our band, we all get along really, really well. I feel like there aren't really egos going on. I probably have the biggest ego of the band. This is Pat, the guitar player, speaking, not Andy. But, you know, as I try to become more mature, I also have a 9-month-old daughter, and so that really kind of stomps the ego down a lot.
Teaches you patience, right?
Yeah. And, you know, 10 years ago it would have been different, but, you know, I've been in this game for a while. I've been around the track a few times. I'm currently in 5 bands, and I've been working with a lot of different guys for a long, long time. This is the only thing I know how to do. This is what I love to do more than anything. And I'm just really grateful to when I come across people like Andy, because I'm not the songwriter. I need people like him to come in with ideas, and people like him need people like me.
Oh yeah,
to
definitely,
to turn it into a finished product. And so it's a great relationship that Andy and I have, and that I have with other really talented songwriters, and I'm very grateful for that. I owned a recording studio for a long time. I've done a lot of producing, you know, helping musicians and artists achieve what their goals are. So I'm pretty used to working with musicians to try to nurture them and help them get the best out of themselves. And that's just a natural role for me. And so that's kind of what I do with these guys and with the other bands that I'm in.
All right, we're talking with Andy Babb and the Big Beautiful Band. We got to run to our first break, but there's still a lot to cover, gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to come back. This is Primetime Sports. We're hanging out. It's local music Tuesdays. It used to be Thursdays. I'm trying to get it in my head that it's Tuesday, right? What day is it? Tuesday? Anyway, we'll be back. It's Primetime Sports, brought to you by Slim Genix on 850 KOA. It's Primetime Sports. See, we went long in the extra segment, so we can't get as much of the song, and that's a drawback to all this. Anyway, we're hanging out with Andy Babb and the Big Beautiful Band, although Pat is the Big Beautiful Band.
Tonight, Patrick.
Tonight is.
The Big Beautiful
I
Band.
am a member of the Big Beautiful Band.
Do you want to give a shout out to your other? So now what we're hearing, though, that's all you, right? All the different instruments are you?
We have an EP and a full-length album.
Okay.
There are a total of 3 drummers on both of the albums. I'm doing about 75%. Well, 2/3 of the drumming. I'm doing 80 to 90% of the bass work. Most, if not all, of the electric guitar work. Most of the keyboard stuff. And I have a few backup vocal parts here and there. He does a lot of his own backups.
So, okay, so that's some of that's then the magic of the studio, right? The backups. I've got to ask you, because we've now heard 2 songs, and I mean, there's a rock feel to it. There's a little folk feel to it. I'm not throwing labels on you guys at all, but I am fascinated because I feel like a lot of bands, they kind of get into one thing and that's what they do. And I mean, some of my favorite bands, The Offspring, Blink, you know what you're going to get when you go and pick up that album.
Yeah.
And I'm not upset about it. But there's already been a lot of diversity just in the 2 songs that we've heard. I mean, is that just your personality? Is it how your mind works? It's fascinating to me that you've got so much. We heard, was there a fiddle going on or a banjo in that?
There's a banjo on that one, yeah.
So, I mean, you got a lot of sounds in your head then, or is that again, Pat's influence?
He actually did the banjo.
Yeah, I played the banjo. That's my papa's banjo. Shout out to Jazzy Jeff.
Well, I've never heard power chords and a banjo going together, right?
Oh.
Well,
I never would even thought to pair
That's that
them.
new sound, Mr. Lindahl. That's that new sound. You heard it here first, 850 KOA.
Andy is a pretty folk-based songwriter and musician, especially when you see him play solo. It's a real folk element to his playing, real positive stuff. Folk music is something that I've basically disregarded my entire life because I like music with very strong rhythmic elements.
Okay.
And generally, I find folk music to be kind of lacking in the strong. I grew up with hip hop and hard rock, metal and stuff, and also electronic music, all very rhythmically based stuff. Andy's stuff is a lot more on the folk side of things, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I'm able to put my influence in, I try to bring in. I'm just naturally heavier of a sound with the guitar stuff, with the drum stuff.
He's a natural rock star.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a blues rock guitar player, which I think lends itself really well to his songs and his songwriting. I try not to take it over the top. I mean, I'm in a metal band. I got it. There's a time and a place for me to get real crazy heavy. But with this stuff, it provided me a really awesome arena to explore kind of a new feel that I haven't had a chance to do prior to working with him. And it's really natural for me to do the blues stuff. And I use an entirely different guitar rig, which is a lot less overdriven, and I find it to be a lot more appropriate for the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
Is that how you heard that song coming out then?
Oh yeah. So when I wrote, Pat says refers to a lot of my music as pretty folky, and a lot of the reason for that is I'd sold a lot of my musical equipment. I grew up playing in punk bands, playing in church groups, and I sold a lot of my musical equipment, sold my car, and I bought an old motorhome, and I traveled around and kind of a self-discovery type of thing when I was about 22. And, I just bought one acoustic guitar because when you live in a little space, you can't have a bunch of stuff, although I kept my PA in my bathroom. But, it kind of, you just naturally play what you have. So I had an acoustic guitar, and that's how a lot of these songs came out. And Lord Have Mercy, the song we just heard, came out in a time I was living in East LA in a guy's backyard. There's a big old Great Dane and a big old German Shepherd running around. And I was just kind of in a low space, and I just thought about how bad life really could be for some people. People who lost their families in the floods. I just heard that Katrina happened, and I wrote that song. Although lots of our songs have really positive messages, I also, want people to feel these things that are human and are common to all of us, which is really what the term folk means to me.
Well, when we get back, we got to go to news. When we come back the next segment, I want to find out from both of you, because obviously you're both very talented. But you said you went to music school. And I want to know, sometimes I feel like for talented people, what does music school really teach you? So I want to find out what you guys got from that and if it's actually helped.
All right.
Okay? Yeah. It's a fair question. A lot of the young musicians I know will tune in at these times because they want to know how you made it. Definitely. I want to know if music school actually helped you make it. So when we come back, we'll talk more about that. Right now, we've got to head off to the news center, say hello to Mindy Stone.
1, 2, 3, 4. Don't blame the ants in your honey. Don't blame the bees in your cheese. Don't blame the fly for being in your pie. We're all just trying to get by. We're all pieces of the bigger picture. We are petals on the flower of life. Each one has its place, each one gives life a new taste. We're the sugar, we're the salt, we're the spice. So, don't blame the ants in your honey. Don't blame the bees in your cheese. Don't blame the fly for being in your pie. We're all just trying to get by. Yes, it's true that little bird, there were bright colors. Yes, it's true, that little bird, they wear all black. It's true that bird is blue, but it's no different than you. So go ahead and take a big step back. 'Cause from outer
That
space, we
is
all
Andy
just
Babb and the
look
Big
like
Beautiful Band. I'm
ants.
sorry.
But
I don't want you to
ants
take it as an insult that we've got to jump in on this song. It is AM radio, though. So now, where can people get the music we're hearing tonight? Is this the EP or is this the new album?
Yeah, this is off the new album. You can download it on our website, andybabbmusic.com. That's B-A-B-B. You can go listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on iTunes. We have lots of stuff on YouTube. Just put in Andy Babb Music on your Google, and you will find it all.
Okay, now, if they want a hard copy of the disc, can they pick that up? We've got a couple shows coming up tomorrow. It's at 303 Vodka in Boulder. Looking at Will. You know where that is, Will? Of course he does.
I may have been there a few times.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Atta baby. Are you going to take tomorrow off now? Am I going to have a sick Will Collins all of a sudden? I can't get in. Can they get a CD at the show tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. CD and a T-shirt. Come on out. It's put on by Starwater Wednesday. It's a great crew out of Boulder, and yeah, they have wonderful drinks up there. 303, it's a private distillery, great company, cool venue. We'll be rocking it from like 9 to 11.
I love the versatility of your music. I've never heard it. Is it, I guess, what's the reaction of the crowds? Again, it all seems to be on this happy theme that you're talking about, but I mean, is it hard for you guys to appeal to people? Do you get where some people are into some of the songs and maybe not into all of them? Or, or do you find everybody digs the variety?
Yeah, I think it really depends on where we're playing. We played Tour de Fat this summer, and, in that type of environment where people are drinking and dancing and having a good time, that's kind of our target audience, And you can build a set list to where you can play all sorts of type of music in the night and people will still accept you as long as they're like, they're feeling it. It doesn't really matter what you play as long as they're still feeling it.
I mean, you get the tough guy that stands on the side with his arms crossed.
Well, you sing about love for,
yeah, exactly.
son.
But all it takes is a couple of good-looking young ladies to start grooving, and everything just kind of opens up from there. I mean, we tend to get. I mean, it seems like we get really good response. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But it's hard not to like, really.
Well, I mean, everyone's going to have someone that doesn't like it, right?
Well, of course.
Yeah,
It's impossible.
But he's so humble and open. It's like, we have so much fun on stage. It's like we don't have like this attitude or like this fake persona that we're trying to put out there. Like, we love playing music. We love the songs that we play. We love everybody that's there to see us, whether they're there to see us or if they just happen to be there. And it's pretty magnetic. People end up coming towards the front of the stage and just smiling. A lot of smiles. He smiles all the time. We're all having a really good time. I mean, this isn't a death metal show,
Right.
It's like we're here to have fun.
Ironically, when I go to death metal shows, I have a big smile on my face and I'm just whomping.
You're still feeling it. I love the Dropkick Murphys, but
Oh, yeah. Caught him at Riot Fest.
well, I'd like to be you talk about the tough guy circus.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on at some of their shows. I would like to be out of the fray because I don't know what you're angry about, but it's not my fault.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the music school thing, but and now I just lost what I wanted to go. Now I just lost which direction I wanted to go to with you. Oh, I know what it is. We asked this of every band. I got to find out, and there's some really funny stories about this, so we want your funniest. Worst show you've had to play. Worst situation you found yourself in. Has there been one where maybe you've been having fun? It doesn't sound like it, but maybe nobody else has been feeling it. Have you found yourself in a venue where you're just like on stage going, how did I get here? How did we end up here right now?
That's a tough question, actually.
Or are you so into it? I could see you being into it no matter what, and it just doesn't matter who's along for the ride.
I am a optimist through and through, and I guess you can hear that in my music. So I had a show in Chicago at the Elbow Room when I booked my first solo tour last year, and I showed up and there was no one there. It was like -30. It was like the first really cold night in Chicago, and no one was on the streets. No one knew who I was, and I I play. And there's one, they always say, if you impress one person,
right,
then you've done it. And for some reason, this guy was playing punk rock down in the basement because the Elbow Room is kind of a famous room in Chicago. And I was playing upstairs in the bar. And, this guy's girlfriend got bored and came up upstairs and started listening to me. And she was so into it. She bought like 3 CDs, a T-shirt and everything. And easily I could say like that was my worst show because there was one person, but I made a fan for life. So it really wasn't. That's the thing about being an optimist. Is the glass is half full. So
What did the guy say when he found out?
oh, he was cool. I went and jammed out to his music too.
Okay. I thought maybe he came up. There'd be a second half to the story.
You know, he did. He did come, and he was a nice guy. You know, musician talk. You know, you start shop talk, and everybody's pretty cool. So, but I feel like Pat probably has a couple of worse show stories.
Well, there was a point where we did my original band that was called Love Child at the time, decided that we realized that we could actually play a lot more and make a lot more money as a cover band. So we transitioned into a cover band. We signed with a booking agent, and suddenly I was playing my guitar because I had to, not because I got to. You know, it was like it became a job.
Right.
So
Right.
In the years of 2009 and 2010, we were playing over 100 shows a year. And, you know, the guys and I were all real tight, but, you know, when you're playing with somebody that much, you know, you kind of, you know, resentments build up and egos kind of get here and there, and you get tired of playing this. I mean, how many times am I going to play Mary Jane's Last Dance? I've played that song like 5,000 times. And I love that song, fortunately. But, you know, when you're doing it for a living, the cover bands, they don't count on you to bring audience. They book you in places that are already going to have kind of like built-in audiences. And after hundreds of shows, you know, you show up to a place and there's nobody there. I think that's a big fear of a lot of musicians, is playing a show in front of nobody. And the point that I'm at now with my, you know, music career is I don't really care. I don't, you know, it doesn't really bother me if there isn't anybody there anymore like it used to. You know, I've lost the illusion that I'm going to be famous. That was never my intention. I wouldn't mind being rich, but I don't intend to be famous from being a musician. So I don't that much care if there's somebody there or not, you know. I love the people that I play with, and I love the music that I play. So it's you know, I'm very grateful to just be on stage or in the rehearsal place, you know. Either way, I guess if you want to hear a bad story about one particular bad night, we used to play up in the mountains, and we built it. We'd go to this old rock quarry, and we would build our own stage. We'd bring up 2x4s and plywood, and we'd build the stage, and we played around this huge bonfire, and it was one of the funnest shows I've ever had. But we had built this stage, and it was kind of flimsy, and I was I was bouncing up and down, and it's on video. We have video of it. My half stack, my Mesa half stack, which is about the size of a washing
and not
machine.
cheap.
About the size of a washing machine, did a face plant, fell straight forward and face planted, and obviously it stopped, and then we blew the generator because of that. And I can't say that was a terrible show. I mean, it's a great story and it was a lot of fun, but that was definitely something that was unfortunate that happened on stage. But
is the Mesa your baby at all?
The Mesa? Yeah, that's my main.
Yeah.
That's my heavy rig.
Right.
And then
I have to imagine there was a knot in your stomach when you saw that take a face plant, right?
Well, it was behind me, and I felt an earthquake, and then all of a sudden my guitar stopped playing, and I didn't even have to turn around to know what happened, because I mean we were on flimsy, like, inch thick, like, plywood, and it's
good for resale value.
No, it was good. No, everything that was plugged into the front of it, you know, slammed face first onto the stage, so all of the jacks got destroyed. So I had to do a bunch of rewiring and
bad show.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah,
because if you're a guitar player, Mesas are high end, shall we say? That's a sad ending.
That's the stuff. I've been playing my Mesa head for about 10 years now, and that's my heavy rig. When I play with Andy Babb and the Big Beautiful Band, I play a Fender Strat through a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe amp, and it's just money. It's perfect for that setting.
Sounds so good.
Yeah, it really does.
There's a sweetness.
All right, we're gonna come back. I can't imagine anyone has not liked you ever in your existence.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
You are very easy. You both are very easy to like, but you've just got this. I don't know. Can you be mean to him? Maybe that's what we'll come back. We're gonna come back. We're gonna make Will try to be mean to Andy. That'll be the contest when we return on Primetime Sports. I hate to cut it. I mean, we got like 2 minutes left. But you guys, it's a great album. And I had never heard you before tonight. Andy reached out. There's still about 20 minutes of stuff I wish we could cover, but we'll have to cover it. Look, Andy reached out to me because a listener had suggested to him he should come on the show. If you're out there wanting to do the same thing, just drop me and Will an email, andy@850KOA.com. We'll get you on the show. It's real easy. Very happy you guys made it in. Let's get to the question I promised I would ask because, again, I know the young artists are interested in it. Did music school help you? What helped you the most to kind of find your way in this business?
Absolutely, yeah. The Musicians Institute helped me so much. It just like my brain exploded, and I learned so many things all at once. Pat?
Coming out of high school, I knew I wanted to be a rock star, so I went to CU Boulder to pursue my music. All they had up there, I mean, I was a jazz musician at that time, but I didn't stand up to the other jazz musicians that were there. Found out about the recording school at University of Colorado at Denver. Was like, that's what I want to do. Came back, went through and got a recording arts degree and started a recording studio. Ran that, and that was our place to record all of my band stuff, rehearse everything, had clients, make money. Did that for a long time. Was playing, and then decided to move to LA. I had had enough, wanted to try something new. So I went to LA with no plans, found out about the Musicians Institute Hollywood, and there was a program there that I was interested in. So I, like 2 days before class started, I just kind of randomly signed up and ended up going through 6 or 8 months of that. As far as whether music school has helped me, I would not be as far along today as a musician had I not had any education in music. I mean, there are people that do not get educated in music that make it way farther than I ever will, but I feel like I'm a much more competent, more well-rounded musician and recording engineer and producer. I do what I love to do more than anything, and I'm very grateful for that. And a lot of it has to do with my education.
All right, well, you know what? So there's your answer. I hope it helps. Look, kids, you always got to do something that's not a little bit fun before you get to the fun part, right? There's always a little bit of work in it. You guys have a show tomorrow. Again, we mentioned it in Boulder at 303 Vodka, cross streets.
It's like 47th and Pearl.
Okay, and the Oriental Theater. Now, our friends in Heart and Soul Radio just dropped their new disc, so everybody should know that one is off 44th in Utica. I actually used to live in that neighborhood when it was much different than it is now, but that theater is fantastic, cool stage. Have you played there before?
I never have played there, so we're pretty excited.
No, but I've been there.
You guys are you'll love it. I think you will love it. I can imagine you'll fill the room up. So is there a place to get advance tickets if they want to hit you up? Is the Facebook, got about 10 seconds. Facebook page, best way to do that?
Yep, Facebook and our website, www.andybabbmusic.com.
Andy Babb Music, Andy Babb and the Big Beautiful Band is on Facebook. It's an easy find. Give him a like, message him there. He'll get you hooked up. Guys, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Hey, what happened? We'll talk to you tomorrow on 850 KOA.